Today we have Dr. Nick Thompson, and I am so thrilled to have him on his short notice. He just came back from vacation. He is a holistic vet from the UK. He has this amazing website that lists all his services. I'm going to let him talk about them because there's so many. It's just mind-boggling. Plus, he's part of Raw Pet Medics. He is the voice of feeding dogs raw because he's so passionate about it. Dr. Nick, we are here today sharing your cancer-free canine stories.
Hey, Poppy, it's great to be here. I hope you're well. I hope everybody who's sharing the airwaves with us is in great shape. It's great to be here. Really looking forward to having half an hour of discussing cancer. It's such an important topic. It's rampant. You know, it's very, very prominent in our dogs, and just as much as with humans. And so there's a lot to talk about. I'll let you ask the questions if you like, because I could just talk about it all night. So you tell me if anybody wants to ask questions, then shout and we can address things as we go along. But you know, you're the boss. You tell me, and we'll do what we need to do.
Well, first off, I just want to know your approach to cancer. Like, why do you think cancer exists? We have so much more knowledge these days, but it doesn't seem to be dropping the cancer rate in dogs. It's 1 out of 1.6, and that is only the dogs that go to the vet and get diagnosed. I mean, like, how many rancher dogs or poor family dogs that don't end up going to the vet? They're just like, it is what it is. We're just gonna, you know, buy our time. So what is that, the statistics that you've heard?
Yeah, I mean, the statistics is something like in dogs over the age of 10, it's 50%. In the entire dog population, maybe 1 in 3, 1 in 4. No, actually, yeah, maybe 1 in 3, 1 in 4. And then from the age of 10, there is a hard statistic, which is 50% of dogs, which is one of the highest species. Highest incidence in any species on the planet. I think the only other species which comes close is humans, which is really interesting because when we think about stateside, you have the amazing Thomas Sandberg, who's doing a 30-year study. Yeah, long living pets.
Long living pets, I think. Yeah, I've actually had him on the membership.
Okay, so I've spoken to him a couple of times, and we've done some interviews together, and his reported statistics to me is that, you know, the standard is, you know, over the age of 10 it's 50%. He's doing a 30-year study, started in 2000, is going to be finishing in 7 or so years' time, and what he's finding, Poppy, is that, and what he's doing is he's following thousands of raw fed dogs. And his figures, he's reported, is that among the dogs that he is following, cancer is down to 3% in the dogs that he's following. He's reported to me, which I think
That's insane.
Which is yeah, amazing that he's got those figures. So worth following up with him to follow up on those, because cancer is so important. Why is it so prevalent in humans and dogs, among others, but we are the most prevalent? I think it's because we live in a very dirty world. You know, the water is polluted, the air is polluted, our food is polluted, our minds are polluted with, you know, the Facebooks, the social medias of this world. I don't think they do, you know, even though we're using it right now, and I use it for work as well. I'm not sure if it's doing us any good, and I think that has a lot to do with the cancer rate.
That's so interesting, because suppression plus overstimulation, what an interesting equation that is.
It is, and it leads to chaos, doesn't it? You've got suppression, you've got overstimulation. That sounds like an atomic bomb to me, really. You know, you've got that uranium packed in there, and then you overstimulate it, and off you go. You get a fission reaction. Yeah, and I think, and just look at the stats. If that's not an atomic bomb, I think nothing is. So that's what we're dealing with, and it's rampant. The other thing which is really interesting, which I first came across with the wonderful stateside journalist who is Gary Taubes, and he, in his book, which was The Case Against Sugar, which was written, I don't know, 2010, 2012 or so. He's gone through systematically looking at the impact of sugar on human metabolism, and he's got many cases historically, looking back into the 19th century, where missionaries and Western society, us very advanced, supposedly civilized human beings, went to other parts of the world which were not supposedly, I'm using inverted commas because I don't actually believe that that's the case, but in those days, these supposedly advanced civilizations went out across the world, to Africa, to South America, to Mongolia, to all these diverse places, and they would take with them, refined flour to make white bread. They would take sugar and other foodstuffs. But his thesis is that it was the refined carbohydrates and the refined sugars that seem to correlate most closely with the advent of cancer. In many of these cultures, these human cultures, cancer was unknown. You have doctors writing in kind of 1805, 1810 about how they haven't seen cancer in these populations for years and years and years and years and years. And then Gary Taubes demonstrates that within about 22 years or so, he's very specific on that, which is remarkable. Within about 20 or so years, 22 years, suddenly the first cases of cancer are seen. And after that, it's a runaway thing. So you go to the deepest, darkest Africa, deepest, darkest Amazonia, cancer is unknown. We, very advanced Westerners, turn up, and within 20 years, cancer appears. I mean, that you cannot, you have to draw a straight line between those two things, methinks. And this is before the days of massive pollution. Yeah, so you can't blame it on plastics, you can't blame it on vaccinations and these things, these kind of things. So what was it? The only thing that really changed for these people was the food. Yeah, they had white man's food, they had Western food, which tastes great, and sugar is fantastic in your tea and on your cakes and what have you, but cancer came along within 20 years. So I think that the classic Western diet has a lot to do with what we are seeing.
So in the United States, we call it the standard American diet, which the
SAD, yeah.
SAD, yes.
The SAD
and we've
diet,
actually done the SAD thing for our dogs on a mass level when industrial food, ultra processed food came along.
We totally have. And the thing is, with humans, they tend to eat a bit of variety. Even if you're eating a terrible, you're going to eat McDonald's one day, then you're going to go KFC the next day, then you're going to go Domino's the third day, and then back to whatever I started with,
I'm
KFC.
Getting sick as you're saying that.
I'm sure I'm getting sick as well. And I'm not veggie. I'll eat good meat. That's not a problem. But yeah, at least there's variety there. But with our dogs, we will feed them, and we are told by the corporations, the Royal Canines, the Hills, the Purinas of this world, we are told to put the dog onto one kibble for an entire life stage. And when we contrast that, there was a study that came out of France, Paris, in 2018, and they followed thousands thousands and thousands of people over about 14 years or so. And they found that with humans, with every 10% increase in ultra processed food in the diet, there was an increase of 12% of all causes of cancer, of all incidents of cancer. So there's another example that when you bring in this very refined, ultra processed food, all of a sudden cancer rises. So that's a historical precedent, but also a modern context. Yeah, because in France, very sensibly, they've rejected this ultra processed food until recently. Maybe in the last 20 years, they've been eating it more and more. But historically, they haven't. And so they've got this population who is more and more exposed, human population, who's more and more exposed not to raw brie and some French bread and lots of butter and a little bit of wine every day and lots of salads and well cooked rare meat and just good old fashioned food. They're moving from that to the McDonald's and the KFCs. Yeah, these are hitting Paris, hitting Lyon, hitting all these wonderful places, and the cancer rate goes up in proportion to how much rubbish you put in your face. That's the bottom line. So you say, where does cancer come from? I think it comes from many places, but food is a good place to start, methinks.
Right. It seems like you brought up in the beginning, the more impoverished the community, the longer they live because they couldn't afford to eat out so much.
Yeah.
And they probably cooked and grew their own food. So they were self-sustained.
Yeah. I think cooking your own food daily, even if it's very simple, cooking from scratch, which is not fashionable these days. We're too busy. Yeah. We're too busy killing ourselves with that, overstressing to take the joy of cooking at home. What is more important than cooking? Is it spending an extra hour in the office? Is it going to a movie? Is it watching television? When we know that those populations who cook for themselves from scratch on a regular basis, they are more healthy. They have more longevity. Look at the blue zones, Okinawa, Sardinia, all these wonderful places.
So explain the blue zones for our audience. Okay. I know what they are, but maybe not everybody else does. And Jennifer brought up a really good point, is microwaves.
Microwaves, yeah, that's just another cog in the machine, which is very happy to make you sick. Illness, Poppy, as you know, but our viewers may not. Illness is a fabulous business. And if you can make people ill for a long period, you're guaranteed to make a lot of money. If you can make them fearful, if you can make them sick, you don't want to kill them quickly because then your source of revenue disappears. But if you can make them sick for 20, 30, 40 years, you're laughing. Sorry, can you hear that? We've got peacocks.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. I have blowers outside my window. I'd like to hear peacocks more than the blowers.
We've got peacocks. Yeah. Well, if you listen carefully, you might hear them. And it's early springtime here now, and so the sap is rising, and we've got 2 male peacocks, and they're getting pretty frisky, and so they're usually silent for like 9-10 months of the year, silent, which is great. But at this time of year, they're getting really excited. So
peacocks sound like tortured children.
They do. They're brilliant. They're brilliant guard dogs. Yeah. They when they're not crazy about female peacocks, they just stand around and just mooch about the property here. And if they see anything they don't like, then they will honk. They're honk like this. It's an incredible sound. Like a good watchdog. So you always know when something's happening. Yeah. If there's a dog chasing the chickens, a foreign dog chasing the chickens, or there's even a car they don't like. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Let's get back on to cancer.
I know we tried to do that. So we're talking about blue zones And then
Okay.
also there was something else you were really pulling up important.
Okay, so blue zones. Let's just talk about blue zones. Blue zones. There's about seven zones around the world where they have more centenarians, more people of 100 years or more, and not only that, they have a healthy old age population. They have farmers in Sardinia who are scampering up mountainsides aged 88. They have Okinawans who are gardening aged 95. And
Well, now
so
we
people,
just had this dog, Bobby, who is like 30 years old
yeah.
and has no gray hair on him.
Okay, well, there you go. That's something to chase. That's
Yeah.
if they can bottle that, they'll make a million. That's for sure. That is absolutely right. And so with the blue zones, people look at them and say, well, what are they taking in order to, yeah, we immediately think, what are they taking in order to live long, but not only live long, to live really healthy old age. Yeah, it's not about lifespan, it's about health span. Forget lifespan. Yeah, doctors can make you live an extra 20 years if they work really hard. It's not about that. It's making those last 20 years of your life some of the best of your life. That should be. And with our dogs, you know, that translates to the last 3-5 years of their life. Yeah, we don't want these guys declining. We want them jumping out of their skin until the day that they decide to go running in the celestial fields. So so I was saying about the blue zones. Everybody says, oh, what do they take? Whatever they take in Sardinia, whatever they take in Okinawa, that's what I want to take. But sometimes we've got to think it's not what you take to make you live long and well and long a health span. It's what you don't take. And so what these people don't take, they don't take a lot of ultra processed food, if any at all. Okay, which is getting more rare around the world. They have very important social bonds within the community. They contribute and receive from the community. They eat very well, fresh food, and a big variety, many different herbs, many different vegetables. They don't overeat. That's one of the interesting things. Yeah, in Europe and in the States, we overeat unless we feel absolutely stuffed. Classically, you and I may not, but classically, you're taught fill your belly and then off you go. But actually, to eat until you have sufficient, not such that you're absolutely full, is something I think to strive for.
It's an interesting point because if you're not eating a ton of carbohydrates, you don't necessarily get heavy full.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not doing your turkey coma on Thanksgiving, but you're eating like a fresh salad with some side stuff and no carbs, you have this pleasant, content fullness, but not this heavy fullness. Yeah. So share with us your cancer cases. How do you what are your wins? What was your approach, your process?
Okay. So the last 10 minutes or so, I'm just so I'm just going to give you some broad strokes, because if I went through every cancer case, they're all quite similar, really. It's basically dog starts with cancer and then lives substantially many times more than is expected from a conventional approach. I'm not saying in any way that I can cure cancer. If I could, I would have retired a long time ago, obviously. But I think that I have some understanding, and it's this idea of it's not just what you can add to the party, it's what you can remove from the environment of the dog, which can be very beneficial. So two types of cancer come to mind, which are really quite quite prominent. One is hemangiosarcoma. These are spleen tumors, very common in German Shepherd dogs, but can be seen in many different types of dog. And mice, and the other very common tumor is the mast cell tumor. Okay, so let's bring together some of the commonalities of how I approach. So the first thing is, what do we remove from the picture? So the first thing is we remove ultra processed food from the picture. If the dog is on kibble, then you can do as much chemotherapy, you can do as much pharmaceutical medicine, you can do as much even holistic medicine as you like, but you're not going to be on a good foundation. So for me, fresh or raw food, which is free of ultra processed food, is so important. The other thing that we need to remove from the picture is the overuse or even any use of pesticides. These will be the products that we use for fleas and worms. If your dog hasn't got fleas, you can't find any fleas and the dog's not itching and everything else. Why would you want to put a pesticide on or in your dog if they haven't got fleas? Okay, I know that, you know, down south in the States, fleas are a major problem. Okay, and therefore use whatever you can. If you can avoid pharmaceuticals or even reduce the amount of pharmaceutical that you're using, then so much the better. I'm very skeptical of the use of products like Bravecto, Simparica, NexGard. Okay,
And I
even the
think
FDA in 2019 said that they are concerned with negative effects from these types of products.
Absolutely. But as you're talking, I'm getting this aha moment of how it's a vicious cycle, that you use these products that drop the immune system, tax the liver, and then they are more attracted to fleas and ticks on top of that. So it's like just this perpetual kill the flea and tick, drop the dog's immune system, attract more fleas and ticks.
Yeah, great for business. Like great for business, Poppy. Yeah, you've got to remember somebody's driving this because there's a lot of money to be made, unfortunately.
Yeah,
not
and
the vets.
I actually have an interesting story about that. Is my sister was married to a man who worked in like the pharmaceutical field, and I sat down to dinner with them one night and he said, yeah, nobody's coming up with new antibiotics anymore. And I go, why? And he said that they wanted to develop drugs that people stayed on for a lifetime. And he was honestly clear about that. Diabetic drugs, thyroid drugs. He goes, that is where the research is going into, is keeping people on pills.
Statins.
Yeah,
it's great. You can put people on at 40, 50, and, you know, they'll be on them for life, you know. It's so great. It's a great business model. I'm being really cynical, and my tongue is firmly in my cheek when I say that, just so that people don't think I'm a big mad fan. I'm not going to go on a statin. My father did. I wasn't happy, and I won't. There's a great book by a guy called Tim Spector over here, and he says that in order to help one person not have a heart attack, 88 people have to go on statins. Okay. Yeah. So Tim Spector, it's called Spoon Fed, and he's a British researcher. Very readable, and you can get it on audiobook. I do a lot of audiobooks, and he says that those are the kind of statistics that he will go through. 88 in order to save one person from a heart attack. Okay, so great revenue. Coming back to hemangiosarcoma and mast cell tumor. So we want a great diet. We want to minimize pharmaceuticals. We very much want to avoid, where possible, the annual vaccination, where at all possible. Some states say you've got to vaccinate with rabies, but if you can go on a 3-year cycle, then that's so much the better. I'm going to talk to you about let's just keep it simple, Poppy, about 3 products that I use in many, many cases. The first is a combination, a combination of mushrooms. No, that's the instructions. Here you go. So you probably be able to screenshot that or have a look on a repeat. These are the ones that we're using. We're using Coriolis, we're using turkey tail, and what have you. But this is a combination, and mushrooms are known to very much support the body against tumor formation, tumor proliferation, and they're known to be very, very safe. A lot of work. The second product that I very commonly use, and this is just a brand, is CBD. Can you see, Clever? No, you can't.
Kind of. It's a little faded, but I can always put the links in the chat.
So it's CBD. These guys are the ones that I use. It's a CBD. Okay, really, yeah, worth having a Google. There you go. That's in focus.
Dr. Nick, legally, can you sell CBD in?
I can as a vet. As a vet in the UK, I can.
Great.
I can. And it would depend on the state, I guess. You'd have to just make sure you don't get arrested for buying CBD. But CBD is very different from cannabis, and cannabis is legal and not legal depending on the state in the States. So you'd have to just do your homework there. But CBD, if you can get hold of it, really, really worth doing some homework about. And final product.
Do you use homeopathy?
I do use homeopathy. I use, and one of the protocols I use is by Ramakrishnan, Dr. Ramakrishnan. So if you guys haven't come across his protocol, he's very much worth looking into. Okay.
Excellent.
So
thank you for that. I have not seen that book. I'm excited.
It's very good. It's a very simple system, and that's good. I'll use lots of different. For example, I will use. Not sure you can see this. Try that. Canine, mast cell.
It's a NoSewed.
It's a NoSewed. So this is a remedy which is derived. There they are again, the peacocks. Can you hear them?
I did hear.
I'm deafened.
I thought it was my backyard. I was like, oh, you got a bunch of birds out here. I'm so excited that you brought up NoSewed as a treatment, not just a prevention.
No, NoSewed as a treatment for mast cell tumors. This is a remedy that derived from a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. I took a tumor off a Staffordshire Bull Terrier maybe 23 years ago, and we sent it to the homeopathic pharmacy, and we made a homeopathic NoSewed from it. So you in combination with your homeopathic vet who does surgery, you can make this NoSewed tomorrow. Okay, and I use that very, very commonly.
I'm excited about this, Dr. Nick. Do you sell that?
You can get it. You can get it from homeopathic pharmacies up and down the UK. Yeah, so you have to talk to them. I'm not sure what the import regulations are. You've got some.
Nick, people don't know about NoSeweds. Like I talk about NoSeweds all the time. Please just tell people what they are.
A NoSewed is a homeopathic remedy derived from diseased tissue. Yeah. So if you have a dog with parvovirus, and you take some of that feces and you make a remedy out of it, because it's chock-a-block with parvovirus within this horrible bloody feces, you can then use that. Believe it or not, it sounds too good to be true, but actually it is a valuable weapon in the armory. You can use that to treat a dog who has parvovirus, for example. You're going to have to use other things. You're going to have to think about constitutional remedies and what have you, but never forget the use of isopathic NoSeweds. Isopathic means that the same disease NoSewed. Yeah. So you've got a dog with mast cell tumors, and you get hold of a mast cell tumor NoSewed. Have a Google and have a look. If pharmacies in the UK don't do it, pharmacies in Europe do. The pharmacies that I would suggest you might want to contact: Freeman's Homeopathic Pharmacy. You don't need to write it down. Have a look on the repeat. Also, Helios Homeopathic Pharmacy, and also Ainsworth's, Ainsworth's, Ainsworth's Homeopathic Pharmacy. Talk to these guys. You can Google them these days. I don't even need to give you a reference. Just Google them, write to them, and see if you can organize that, or we'll get it to your homeopathic vet. So if they're not using NoSewed, they ought to be using NoSewed. The other, just in the last couple of minutes, Poppy, the other product that I use is kind of, it's kind of a supplement. Can you see that?
It's a vitamin C.
It's aspirin, vitamin C, manganese, and copper in a formulation. It's been used in the UK for the last 40 years. There are papers where it's been used with humans. There are papers where it's been used with dogs, and I find it's a very, very useful. It's called CV247, Charlie Victor 247. I'm not sure if you can see it there, but
so the sodium salicylate, or
salicylate, yeah, sodium
sodium
salicylate in there, which is aspirin. It is a drug, but it was originally from willow and Aspira filipendula, so it does have a fairly good. It's also at quite a low level, and if I was given the choice, do you want some this cytotoxic chemotherapy, or do you want some aspirin? You know which I'm going to go for if I had that choice. Okay, aspirin is if you had to choose a pharmaceutical, aspirin is a pretty great place to go. And I'm using the CV247 in many cases. Google. There's lots of information on the internet, and what I find is there are three major responses. A few dogs, just nothing happens whatsoever. A few dogs, we get miraculous things happening. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm curing anything, but I'm just saying very wonderful reduction in tumor size and what have you is what we can see in some cases. But in the majority of cases, what we see is that the dog does really well. That quality of life is enhanced until they drop off their perch. They die quickly and often very well, as opposed to decline. When are we going to put the dog down? Decline. Are we still? When are we going to put the dog down? Decline. Oh God, we've got to put the dog down. Yeah. So if you're going to go with the bang. Good. Gone. I think this is good. That's how I want to go. And I think that CV247 can facilitate that kind of end of life profile very well. We supply it. If anybody would like to get in touch, then let me know. Holisticvet.co.uk. It's probably going to be in the show notes down below, as everybody says. Poppy, I'll leave that to you. Thank you. But that's a kind of whistle-stop tour. Any final thoughts there, Poppy, from your perspective? Have I given you just a taster?
Yes. I'm so excited that I get to interview all these people, because everybody brings something different to the party. And you brought some really cool, different things. I'm beyond excited about the NoSewed. I've never heard about that product ever. And I think it's maybe a geographic issue too. People don't talk about NoSeweds much in the United States. And I have used them, and I have them at home, but I don't have
I think,
no,
yeah, it's really, really simple. And what you've got to think is that if you've got a disease process, if you've got an infectious disease process, you can use NoSewed. Yeah, whether it's cat flu in the cat, or you've got, you know, some infectious process with the dog or with the horse. I use NoSewed with the horses all the time. With isopathy, for example, if we've got a horse who has sweet itch, we can use culicoides midge. Yeah, the midge, the bite that bites the skin that causes sweet itch. We can use a remedy derived from the culicoides midge. Okay, so this is really simple medicine, guys. You just think that's causing it. If we could enhance the body's reaction, or even modify the body's reaction to that pathological process, whether it's parvovirus or culicoides midge or herpes virus in a cat with cat flu. Think about these things. There are some great books. There, have a look online for homeopathic NoSeweds and their use. Yeah, there's loads out there. If I give you names, you may not be able to get them over there. That's what Google is for. Homeopathic NoSewed, spelled NoSode, NoSewed, NoSewed. So there you go. If I can enlighten your people as to NoSeweds, then I'm delighted to be able to share that knowledge with your guys, and I hope and pray that may help the health of your animals, your horses, your pigs, your cattle, your cats, your dogs, whatever it is. NoSewed, I'll use for, we call it New Forest Eye in cattle. And we use a NoSewed for that. You know, they get like a really big infected eye in cattle. Yeah. And in the old days, we used to have to inject antibiotics into the eyelid like this. I use a NoSewed for the bacterium that causes the thing, and it works beautifully. It's a really, really useful thing. So check out homeopathic NoSeweds. It's probably the simplest area of homeopathy, and it's a very valuable area. And if that can get you started with homeopathy, then that's a really wonderful thing.
Well, and the fun thing is it's a tool for the first signs of decline. So you don't have to like sit and wait to figure out what stuff is. I love homeopathy because it takes, you just compare so homeopathy and NoSeweds are a little bit different. NoSeweds can actually be used for preventative, and homeopathy can be used as symptoms show up. So you don't have to have this sit and wait attitude. You can just go for it, nip it in the bud at first sign, and the pet owner is the one who sees everything first. So if you see something slightly off with your animal, you can be super proactive on this, you guys.
That's amazing. I've got a book, a really great book to recommend if I
Your
can
time
find
is
it.
running out.
I know. Okay, so here's a book.
It's fun to see your clinic back there, by the way.
Oh, good. Yeah, good. Welcome.
I love this book. I have 2 copies.
Okay, this is Don Hamilton. He's a friend of mine. He was based in New Mexico. He's now based over in Austria, in Vienna, in Austria. Lucky chap. And this is a wonderful book. This is the old version. If you'll get it on Amazon, it's got a different cover and what have you. But I've been using this book for 20 years or so. Yeah, it's a beautiful book. Yeah, and it explains about NoSeweds. It's a really lovely introduction to homeopathy. If you want a good book for the horse people, have we got horse people watching?
Not necessarily. I mean, there are horse people that own dogs, but it's a dog site today.
It's a dog thing. Okay.
But I would love to get these guys on my membership. So if you can put in a good word for me, I would love to do a homeopathic summit, an animal summit for homeopathy.
Yeah. Okay. Email me and I'll put you in touch with Don Hamilton. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Hey.
Okay, so how do people follow you if they don't know how to get a hold of you, if they want to like get more
Okay.
of you?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
do-
yeah, yeah. So my website is holisticvet.co.uk. Very easy to remember. Holisticvet, singular, holisticvet.co.uk. Thank you for the plug, Poppy. I'm on Instagram, holisticvet UK.
I love your
And
Instagram.
oh, bless you, bless you. I'm talking about subversive stuff, but I don't care. I need to
That's why I
get
love it.
that. That's why I need to get
I
that
share
message
it
out.
all the
So
time. I'm like, there you go. I'm like, good
if you
luck.
don't like it, don't follow. So Holistic Vet UK on Instagram and on Facebook. We've got, if you go to just Holistic Vet Limited Ltd, it's a company in UK. Yeah. If you
And
just
then
go
you have
holistic, or
your,
even if you just look at me on Facebook somewhere, if you go Holistic Vet Nick Thompson, you'll find it. You'll find it sooner or later, and
and
you're
then your
really
Raw
welcome.
Pet Medics is every Tuesday. For me, it's noon, but you
Okay.
guys are at what, 8 or 7 now? You guys don't
Yeah.
have time change.
7 p.m. We do. We have British summertime. We jump forward in spring by 1 hour to change the to allow the farmers more light to do their wonderful agriculture. So on Raw Pet Medics, check us out on Facebook. Come along for that if you're really into raw food or just talking about medicine in general. We'd love to have you there. We are going out via Dr. Judy Morgan as well. She puts our programs out on some of her channels. So if you're following her, you'll be able to find the Raw Pet Medics through
And then you
her.
have a Patreon site.
And we do have a Patreon site. So if you want to come and join the gang and you get some insider, we treat you a little bit extra special as a Patreon contributor. And that's really wonderful. So we'd love to have you there. Come along to that. There's some nice information there. So yeah. There's a world of wonderful information. There's a world of healing out there that people can get in touch with, and it's been great. Thank you for letting me share just a few simple ideas, and I hope that they've sparked some thoughts with your guys. If you want to get in touch with me, please do. And I just want to say thank you, Poppy, for the great work you're doing. Really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure and my honor. And I'm just so excited. Thank you for being here. It was kind of the spur of the moment situation. And you brought some really unique stuff, which I just adore. Have a great week. And you guys enjoy. I don't know who I have for May yet. So maybe I'm going to check out Thomas again.
Dude, he's an interesting character.
He is. I thank you for that inspiration. All right. Take care, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, Dr. Nick. Bye.